You're on.
Perfect. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name's Bruce, and I'm not an academic, and I haven't spent decades living with any Indigenous group, but I have had the privilege of living with a vast number in different parts of the world, and very much like Daniel, that has changed my life profoundly, and I think very much for the better. I'm especially interested in pre-agricultural societies. I think the all of agriculture is a particularly interesting time in our shared ancestry, and that's the thing that I'm going to talk about a little bit today. The sort of subjects that I have a fascination with is things like identity, where once upon a time we identified ourselves very much with a group and with a place, and now of course we've gone through family, individual, into this sort of avatar, fame world that we have today. I question that. I'm not sure that that's bringing us the intimacy that perhaps we all would like. Ownership, at a time when ownership was very loose and shared within the group, now of course we have ownership of ideas and all these things. Again, I question whether that is a trend necessarily the right direction. Economics, when we had a shared economy, and it was a gift economy, going towards now where the people in society who do the least make the most, and those who do the most make the least. Again, it's a trend that I'm not sure necessarily is one that we should just take for granted as the right thing. Child rearing, where we used to share paternity, maternity, where the stress of the family was shared amongst the community. Of course, we see now with the ever-insular family unit, there are stresses, and some of those can be inherited. I think as well, there's something for us to look at and question. Addiction, there's very little addictive traits in many Indigenous groups, and addiction seems to be an epidemic in our societies, especially things, unspoken ones like greed, which are, again, I think, driving us and our society in a way that I question. Psychology, where the groups like where Daniel lives, and I've seen, where there's no walls at all. Every emotion is shared and expressed and got out. You know, in our world where we're all walls, very private, often those emotions are repressed, and of course they can be inherited, and we see the negative behaviour patterns that they produce. I think that's another thing that I like to question. Medically, the things in our world, of course, we have amazing advances, and all are better for them, but there are things like ayahuasca and iboga that I've had the privilege of trying that also seem to cure aspects of our being that I can't really express words for, but absolutely in my own personal life, and I know many others, have had profoundly positive effects on our lives. Gender, one of the biggest subjects of all. You know, we are living in a patriarchy, and I question massive amounts of that. Bring back other ways of being in the world, please. And belief, finally. You know, I grew up at school learning animism was a very backward way of looking at the world, where actually now some of the cutting edge of our science, quantum entanglement and the like, is kind of in many ways akin, as is a lot of the Eastern philosophies and learnings that we're getting. I think that seeing the world as animate and full of meaning is not is a way of looking at the world that should also be reintroduced into our thought patterns. I think that hunter-gatherers who live in a very present state of awareness, as they have to be able to hunt, are very present, and they have perhaps a different way of using their minds, their brains, that bring them a sense or a different perspective of reality that's very hard for us to understand. But I also think that there's some really interesting new ways that we can explore that as a possibility of other ways of seeing the world that may also have really that may be very valid for us all at this time in history. I think I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Bruce.